Hello, welcome to my channel. I'm Rebecca. I live here in the Blue Mountains in New South Wales, just outside of Sydney, and welcome to sharing my sewing journey. Today I have had a go at sewing the Mila Jumpsuit by Pauline Alice. You can see a little bit of it here, so I have finished. I've made it in a vintage sheet, which is 100% cotton. It's a medium weight. It's a really pretty fabric, floral fabric. I have had fun extending my skills today and doing some problem solving, and stick around to see how the fit goes and whether I'm going to keep it. The Mila Jumpsuit by Pauline Alice can also be made into a dress version, but the jumpsuit version is described as a sleeveless jumpsuit, high waistline, V neckline, finished by facing, wraparound ties, pleated trousers with curved slanted pocket, loop closure at the back, elasticized back waistband, and that summarizes it exactly. I think it's a great pattern for curvy figures. I have done today a size 46 on the top and a 48 on the trousers. So I've got one tie finished. It's actually a really nice finish. Looks nice in this fabric. I'm sure there are lots of ways to get a good finish, but I'm going to tell you what I did on the seam. It does say to trim the excess seam. I trimmed it on one side, So when you feel the seam, it's not one big chunk step down, it's like smooth, barely noticeable. And the other thing is, when I ironed it, it probably would have been even better if I'd ironed the seam flat and open on the wrong side before I turned it in the right way, but I didn't remember to do that. But as I went, I had the seam in one hand and I was kind of rolling it to stop it from going in and losing some of that extra material. I was rolling it to get it right on the seam and pull all the extra material out as I flattened it with my other hand. And I just went really slowly with the iron and with rolling it out. Sometimes put the iron down, use 2 fingers to get the seam out and really nice and flat. So that's one half of the front done, and now I'm going to do the other half. I've got most of the bodice done. I've just finished finishing off the neckline. This is definitely an intermediate pattern. I had to clear the cobwebs of my brain to remember back how to do a full neck binding and how to put it in with weird shapes. Look, it's got a really great finish. It all comes together. I just decided to trust the process. But I have to say, sometimes binding, you get a better finish because there's less steps. There's less room for error. The back and neck facing had to be joined together into one whole thing. You had to attach it. There's a V at the front. There's a big keyhole at the back. There are a lot of little bits, a lot of angles. I just decided to go slow and steady, and it's come out really well. I did have to stop and start at the V to move everything to the side, and I was really careful about watching my stitch line and exactly where I had to come back to, and that has worked out rather well, which I'm really pleased with because I wasn't sure. I was just having a go. So for the last little bit, it says you can hand stitch down the binding or machine stitch it. I'm just going to machine stitch it. Because sometimes when you hand stitch and you've got it in the fabric in your hand, you actually get a little ballooning, a puffing, so it doesn't sit flat. Plus, the machine is faster. The stitches are a little bit more accurate, so I think that's actually going to give the better finish. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. The construction of this jumpsuit has been really challenging. It's definitely intermediate. It made me stretch my skills, which I really enjoyed, and I remembered how to do some things and others I did not, and I had to go back and fix them once I figured it out. It was a really awkward make as far as a large garment like a jumpsuit goes. I've made a couple of jumpsuits before. Neither of them have been constructed in this manner. Everything, the jumpsuits that I've constructed before, you construct the top and then the bottom and then you put them together. That was not the case here. For this jumpsuit, you constructed the top, but you did not join it down the side, and then you did part of the trousers, and then you joined the front of the trousers to the front bodice and the back of the trousers to the back bodice. So you had this huge long strip, and then you do a channel on the back where you put the elastic in, and then you go in between the legs and then down the sides. There were also a couple of other points where I made some errors, which I was mostly able to fix up. However, all the instructions are in the pattern, but they are not detailed. They are not explained slowly. They're just a very brief statement. And there are some illustrations, about one illustration per 4 or 5 instructions. So there's a lot of assumed knowledge, and I didn't know everything. So the couple of errors I made were things that I read and reread and looked at the picture and still didn't understand. A couple of things became clearer as I put the garment together. So I'm going to finish off arm and bottom of the legs, do those hems, and then turn it in the right way and see if it fits. And I've got my fingers crossed that the fit's going to be really good. That's why I made this particular jumpsuit, because the fit for curvy people looked really good. So fingers crossed, and I'm almost there. So the jumpsuit is really comfortable to wear, but the sizing is not quite right, and the colouring is also not quite right. It does look a little bit like a pair of PJs. I like the fit of the top. I think this is the right size. Just comes down the arms a little bit. It's got a nice loose fit. The bottoms, however, I think are a size too small. They fit on my hips, but when I turn around, you'll see the rise is a bit too low. They're pulling up my backside, and the piece of elastic is sitting too low. It's sitting below my waistline. So I need to extend the rise a little bit or go up a size. I'll show you. The pockets have worked. They took me a while to figure out, but the pockets have worked and good. But yeah, you can see when I put my hands in, everything just pulls a little bit, so it's the wrong size. It needs to be a little bit longer here And if I had just another centimetre here, it would all be sitting a lot better. So I think the next size up will be good. So here I am at the end of the day, quite hot and flustered. I have completed the Mila Jumpsuit by Pauline Alice. I will not be wearing and keeping this one, but I am going to have another go at it in a different size. I don't love the process of the pattern, but I do like the fit and the look. I think it's good for my shape. I like the wraparound. I've never had something like that before. I like how the leg tapers in a little bit. I like the elastic at the back, even though I didn't get it in the right spot. I think that's really good idea to get a good fit around the waist for me.